Hi there, and welcome to the second of the new GRcade Podcast series. I'm Cheeky Devlin. I'll be your host today. Joining me today, we have Dragon. Dragon, say hello.
Hi. Good evening.
We have Pedz with us. Pedz, say
hello. How's things?
Not bad. And we also have joining us for the first time, and we have Cuttooth. Cuttooth, good to have you, man.
Hiya.
So yeah, I mean, Cuttooth, this is obviously it's your first time doing anything with us. Obviously, Dragon and Pedz did the E3 videos with me, but this is the first time having you on, so it's good to have you here, man. Am I right in saying that you did some of the older podcasts?
Yeah, the one I'm going to say 3 years ago now, which is actually sounds kind of crazy, but yeah, it was like me, Skippy, Suz, someone else, Adala. There's also sort of like the group of us did it. Yeah. So that was quite good. I think got into good flow, and it was a shame that sort of just ended after a while. I think people got a bit busy.
Yeah, I think it's always the kind of way with things like these. People kind of fade away after they've got other priorities. So I have nothing else going on in my life at the moment, so this is perfectly fine. I'm going to be doing this for the foreseeable future. So yeah, man, good to have you, an old hand at this kind of thing, to join us this week. So good to have you, man. Anyway, just going to jump right into it. Hopefully going to end up with an episode that's a little bit shorter than the last one, which came in at just under 2 hours. We obviously don't want to keep you here that long, so we'll try and crack on now. Basically, just what have you been playing? Cuttooth, we'll start with you, man. What have you been playing these past few weeks?
Yeah, so past couple of weeks I've mainly played Firewatch because we had the Steam summer sale. I think it was 2 weeks ago, or was it? Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. And with the last few summer sales, I've not really, or any sale of that matter on Steam, because I've spent or bought so many games in all these sales for years and years and years, I found that I'm not really in them anymore. I'm not really sort of buying much in the sales. I think quite a few people are actually like that. But I saw Firewatch was, I think it was about a third off at £10, and that actually piqued my interest because I was thinking of getting it whenever it came out earlier this year, but for whatever reason I just sort of skipped over it, didn't get into it. But I just saw this and I thought, if I'm going to buy one thing, I'll buy that, and I'll get into that. I know, I've always heard it was short and everything, it's like 4 hours long, but those kinds of games now, with work and everything, those kinds of games, I know I'm going to be able to complete them. I was quite interested in just doing that, so I basically bought and played it over the weekend, like the last weekend of the Steam sale, and I really liked it. I don't know who else here has actually played it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I played it. I got it on the PlayStation when it came out, and I really liked it. I'm a big fan of games like that. The kind of, I don't want to say walking simulators, but that's what they are. The walking simulators.
They are. A lot of people use that as quite a negative term, because to be fair to these kinds of games like this and Gone Home. DRS I wasn't really a big fan of, but things like the Stanley Parable, I quite like these games because they're doing something different. Yes, there's not a lot of there's often not even that much puzzle sort of element to it, but it's always about sort of that narrative that way of telling a story through a game and trying to tell a story that only a game can tell, which is, I think, interesting enough to sort of support it, even if it doesn't have, say, shooting elements or even jumping elements or much else to it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's what I liked about Firewatch is I loved the aesthetic of it. First of all, the look, the
absolutely.
Style. Look, that's because I remember seeing it at E3, I think the year before, and I thought that looks really good. It looked really interesting, and then just the whole concept of you're being like this, this part what ranger type guy out in the middle of nowhere kind of really appealed to me. I was like, all right, okay, you can do something quite cool with that. And then obviously it's got the kind of mystery element to it that's really, really good. I don't want to say anything. I mean, Pedz, Dragon, have you guys played Firewatch?
I've played a little bit of it. I got it back when it first came out and played a little bit of it, but at the time I was like streaming several different games, and it kind of got put in the back seat then.
Yeah.
But it's something I need to go back to because I was enjoying it when I was playing it.
Do you know where you got up to?
I only got up to the second day.
All right.
Still very early then.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think what happened with me is I played for an hour, and it was quite a tense beginning because it just sort of starts right off the bat, and it's quite tense. You don't know quite what's going on, and it's okay, 1 day, 2 days, and then I just played the whole thing through on a second sitting of 3 hours on a Sunday, and that was my Sunday. And the story is generally one of the most tense things I've ever experienced, especially in the game. But it just that core mystery, like I said, it's very interesting, and the way you speak to Delilah, this other person in another watchtower, that's fantastic to me because you never you don't come face to face with this person, sort of certainly at the beginning, and you've only got this radio and you've only got this disembodied voice coming through it, and it causes, but the way the story goes and everything, even from the beginning, you're just a little bit distrustful of her because she sort of pokes fun at this guy Henry who's moved there for quite sad reasons, and I thought the beginning where you do these dialogue choices and these choices about his marriage to his wife and why he's actually in the I want to say Wyoming wilderness.
I think it was
Wyoming, isn't it? So. Yeah, why he's there, and it's quite sad. It's a very sad beginning, and you think, okay, then you get this voice, and it's like, can I entirely trust her? Especially seeing why this person is out there, and why is she out here? What's her story? Why is she sort of taking this choice, which seems it's an antisocial choice. You're basically isolating yourself from the rest of the world, and I think that I found that quite fascinating, especially the way that you choose how to respond to her or not respond to her through the radio. And I thought it was.
For me, that was probably my favourite thing about the whole game. I mean, the mystery in it's excellent. Like I said, I love the look of it and I love the style of it. But it's the way that the relationship with Delilah evolves over the course of it. And you're right, she's just a voice on the radio, and that's all she is. And it's how that grows and how that changes over the course of the story. It's really, really well done, and I really enjoyed it. So for me, it's one of my favourite games this year. And I mean, it's only maybe about 4.5 hours long. I think I did it in about 3 or 4 sittings over 3 or 4 nights, just an hour here and there.
Yeah.
But I loved every minute of it, and I know some people were like, "Oh, it's maybe a bit too expensive for the time you get it," but I really like it, and I don't like to quantify the value of something based on how quickly I get through it. If I get something out of it, then I'm happy enough to play it.
Yeah, it's like how much you enjoy a game would be dependent. Like if you enjoy a game a lot, then you could say that's worth the money in itself.
Yeah, that's enough.
Oh, it's only 4 hours long. It's like, because plenty of AAA games have been £40 in this 6-hour-long campaign, and people don't seem to complain about that. It seems to be more indie focused, that does.
They are done.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right with that. I mean, full price, this game was like £15 when it came out, especially on Steam. I think it's the same price on PlayStation, I'm not sure. And I think for when it came out, people were like, oh, that's a bit much for not a AAA game that isn't really long.
Yeah.
Or to be fair, you can't really play this through multiple times. In a few years' time, maybe you'll go back to it, but it's not the kind of thing where it's like an early access game where you could just pour hours and hours and hours into it, and it can play differently each time. It's going to play sort of one way.
Yeah,
time.
The main storyline never changes, and I think the choices you make affect it in little ways, but there's never going to be substantially different.
And it's very much like Telltale games in that regard, like The Walking Dead. I mean, this is the first game from Campo Santo, and they're quite famously set up by a couple of ex-Telltale people who made the first season, the very big season of The Walking Dead. And I think the people did get just focused very much on the length of it, but like I said, these kinds of games where the way I'm playing games is actually incredibly different to how I was playing them even 5 years ago. I don't have the time, I think quite a few people don't have the time now to sort of go into, say, a 20 or 30 hour game and just go through it, because I could maybe do that before and just like over a weekend just pour myself into that game. Yeah,
well, you look at how long some people have been playing The Witcher, and that's a huge game, and some people are still playing it over a year later. Not even mentioning the DLC, they're still going through the main game because it's that big. And I'm certainly the same. I mean, smaller games for me are definitely not a good thing. I like them because I can get through them fairly quickly. So yeah, I mean, Firewatch is definitely a really good game, and definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. Okay, moving on. Dragon, what have you been playing?
Recently, I think since seeing Zelda at E3, the whole open world thing kind of got back into me. Following from what you guys have just been talking about, I mean, big games lost their appeal to me just because I don't have the time for them. But seeing that made me jump back into Xenoblade Chronicles, the Wii game. And I really enjoyed playing it last year. Was it last year? It was actually 2 years ago. I started playing it.
Yeah.
And sunk about 50 hours into it. I stopped because at that point, I feel like playing something new. It's not just a Xenoblade thing. I mean, I still really enjoyed it, but I wanted to mix things up. But I went back into that recently. I'm getting quite close to the end, and it's really, after a break, just as great as it was when I started. The main things are still there. You've got huge environments to explore, fantastic music accompanying it. The battle system can be really tactical against the harder enemies, so you need to think about your moves, who you've got in your party, so that you can actually get through it all. And the story is moving places I didn't even expect. I think if I'd been playing it a bit longer, I probably would have just continued just for the story to see where it goes. So yeah, I mean, if you like Japanese RPGs and you've got a good 60-70 hours, whether it's over weeks, days, or months, or years, I can recommend it. Especially if you play on Dolphin, where it just looks fantastic.
I was going to say, you've been playing through on Dolphin, haven't you? Was it the HD texture pack you got?
Yeah, there's a community HD texture pack, which just makes it look incredible. I mean,
some of those are fantastic.
It's unbelievable how something of this scale could exist on the Wii, and by extension, Xenoblade X on the Wii U. But seeing the work done by Dolphin and the modders just brings it to a whole new level. So it's just a fantastic game in nearly every aspect.
Excellent. It's almost like the opposite of Firewatch in many ways. Instead of this small kind of intimate game that you can complete in like 4 hours, it's this massive sprawling epic that, like you say, you're going to spend 60 hours. So yeah, no, that's cool. Pedz, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, that in a way, really, the Wii probably held Xenoblade back because of its lack of power, the stuff they probably could have done. Because I've played I've just left the head of the Bionis, and I think I'm on the shoulder, and the gameplay is fantastic, and the story at the head of the Bionis, Prison Island, it's like the twist there, and it's like, I did not see that coming. It is awesome. Everything Dragon has said, I echo. Like, it is just wow.
I have no idea what any of that meant, but okay, I'm so sure that's good.
Well, I'd say you did a good job of explaining how good it is without delving into spoilers, because that's a tricky thing with the game. It's easy to spoil things, but yeah, it's a fantastic experience. So if you like JRPGs or big worlds, or just exploring, I mean, The Witcher's got a big world, but so if you're looking for something else after that, try to get your hands on Xenoblade. It's on the Wii, the Wii U, the 3DS, and your PC, if you know where to look.
The 3DS version, I mean, I always wanted to get it on the Wii, and I was quite foolishly thinking, when it came out, I thought, I'll let it drop in price. And it never really did. In fact, if anything, it's more expensive than it came out to actually get it on the Wii.
That Nintendo price.
Yeah. And I thought, I was like, just years gone by, I thought, I'll get it eventually at some point, I don't know when. And I heard that the 3DS version's coming out, and I thought, great, fantastic. Then I saw it was only for the new 3DS, which I don't have, and I was like, right, I don't think I'm ever going to play this game. I was almost, because this is part of like it's like a Xeno series, right, from like the PlayStation era.
It's by the same developers, but it's like Final Fantasy. They're all pretty distinct games.
Right, yeah. Oh, okay. But I mean, what was it? Xenogears and something else.
Xenogears, yeah.
Because a lot of people said that it's basically the best game on the Wii, and I always wanted to dive into it, but always wanted to think, okay, I'll just get it on the Wii. But it's always been that thing that I think it's going to be one of those games that I'm probably just going to miss, and even a couple of days down the line, maybe then I'll just go, you know what, I need to, even if I'm not going to complete it, because most of these games, most JRPGs, most sort of really long games, I probably don't tend to complete fully, but just to experience what everyone said whenever it came up, like 5 years ago?
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Bloody hell.
Wow.
Just to experience some of that, I think I'd need to get into it at some point.
It's well worth getting into, man. I picked it up about 2-3 years ago on the Wii. Cost me £30-something used. And what I did then was, because I was playing on the Wii U, I then, when it came out on the Wii U's eShop, it was on offer for like £9. So I grabbed the digital version.
Oh, nice.
Because you can play on the gamepad then. So
I think the same thing
if I want to
happened.
play on the gamepad in the house and not take over the TV.
I think that the same thing not happened with Metroid Prime Trilogy on the Wii. It was going for, it only released in very limited numbers, so it was going for like ridiculous prices on eBay, and then they released it on the Wii U eShop for like, was it £9? I think was the offer price when it came out.
Yeah.
And then it went up to 20, but still the number of people who'd maybe bought it like a week prior for some extortionate amount, and then it's just boom, 20 quid. It's crazy, man. But the Xenoblade, I don't know. It's for me, it's like every other JRPG at the moment. I start them, I get a wee bit into them, and then I just never go any further with them. I played the Xenoblade. I was like Dragon. I was playing on Dolphin, and it was fine up until a point, and then it just the frame rate tanked, and it basically became unplayable. And then was even with the newer when I played that for a bit, and as usual, it got put in the back burner, and I don't think I'll ever go back to it. But yeah, I mean, it's for what it is. I mean, it is good. Both of them are good games, and well worth checking out. Pedz, what have you been playing? I think there was a couple of games you've been playing.
I've been playing a variety of games. Doom, which everyone here should know is fantastic. I've also played recently, quickly, just a quick aside, for Retro Mondays, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which I was really bad at. But I've mainly been playing Freedom Planet.
Talk about Freedom Planet, because I remember seeing it at SGDQ and thought that looks pretty good. And I remember you saying you weren't going to watch it because you'd been playing it.
Yeah, I did watch some of it. I watched up to the point where it was where I was in the game, and then I stopped watching it because they made me feel inadequate.
So for those who aren't familiar with Freedom Planet, what's it about? What's it like?
For starters, it's a 2D platformer. It's very reminiscent of Sonic the Hedgehog. I would go far as to say it is the best Sonic since Sonic and Knuckles, because it really is. They've nailed the gameplay. you get it's basically a platformer, which is really good. And gameplay wise, you get to pick between two different characters at the start. You unlock a third, and you can play through as that. And each one has a different gameplay style, so you're not running through the characters the game exactly the same. And there's also exclusive levels to the other characters as well. But your main character Lilac doesn't get to play through. I know Dragon have played this. Dragon was the one who recommended me to it. It's a pretty I would say it's not a difficult game apart from some of the bosses. Like, I've died on it quite a few times. It tells you how many times you die. And those I can say are against specific bosses where it's like some of them have got difficulty spike. Other than that, I would say the game is brilliant. Like I said, Dragon was the one who recommended it to me. So
really, if you enjoyed the old Sonic 2D games back in the day, and you've always lamented how there hasn't been even a decent one since,
a lament for Sonic.
Yeah, you definitely ought to play Freedom Planet, because Sega may as well have just given a license to those people, because they've done fantastic work with it.
Well, certainly what I've seen of it on SGDQ, I was looking at it and I'm thinking this is a Sonic game and everything but name and IP. It's like you could replace any of the characters with Sonic characters and they would fit. And I think, I kind of take what you were saying, Pedz, but also the different characters with different styles. So it's in the same way, you had Sonic 3 and then Sonic and Knuckles, you had Sonic, Tails and Knuckles, each of whom worked in different ways. Obviously Knuckles can climb and so on, so it's that. And even just in things like the animations and the graphical effects were very Sonic 3 / Sonic and Knuckles. They had that kind of late Mega Drive kind of sheen to them. Yeah, we're not going to have that argument, Pedz.
No, but what I didn't realise, because I hadn't played the game until fairly recently, and like I said, I've really enjoyed it. What they said in SGDQ was, for the sequel, and I was like, there's a sequel. There's a sequel coming out, and they're aiming for it next year, which is a bit of a shame. It's so long away. But I can't wait. I need to finish this game, but I'm on one of the last levels now, and the boss is kicking my ass. So as soon as I do that, I'll be happy.
Then you can start learning to speedrun it.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
But yeah, no, I thought it looked really, really quite interesting, so I might give that a shot myself when I get some free time. I've not really been playing that much. I mean, obviously last time I said I was playing Adventure of Link, which I'm still playing. I haven't played it in a few days actually, I need to go back to it, but I'm in the second last palace now. And that game definitely starts off worse than the rest of it. It starts off so difficult. But then as you kind of power up a bit and you get more things, it gets a bit easier. And like the first two palaces are really difficult at that point. And then when you get to the third and fourth, they're not too bad. You can get through them fairly quickly. So I've been playing that. But most of all, I've been playing one of this month's PS Plus games, Fury, which is bloody good. If those are not aware, it's a boss rush game. So it's just boss after boss after boss. And I've only gotten to the second one. I can't get past her because she's fucking nightmarish. But yeah, it's really, really good. It's got a really cool look to it. It's very Afro Samurai in how it looks and the style of it. And your character is almost like that kind of Ronin style wandering samurai type. And from what I can tell, the plot is you've escaped from a prison. You've been held in. You don't know why this weird guy in like a rabbit head suit releases you, and then you fight the jailer, and then you're working your way down to Earth, apparently. But yeah, it's really, really cool. It's like a weird mix between like a shmup and almost like Dark Souls-esque learning of patterns to defeat a boss. So that's been really good. Have any of you guys played that at all?
I saw it because as you playing it, It came up as a PS Plus title, so I'm interested in grabbing it. I think that there should be a PC version, so I'll probably grab that down the line.
I believe there is, yeah.
I'm no longer a PS Plus subscriber, and I don't see myself resubscribing for a while. So I'm definitely keeping an eye out for it on PC. But it does look great.
Is this the game? I think someone described on the forum as looking like El Shaddai.
I think it might be. I think so. I was looking through the thread for Fury, and I think I remember seeing somebody say that. So yes, I think it could be.
Does it play like that?
I don't know. I never played El Shaddai.
Oh.
I haven't played either, but I'm sure someone did say it's El Shaddai without the shitty platform bits.
I like the shitty platform bits.
From what I've played so
from
far,
the demo of El Shaddai that I played.
Yeah, from what I've played so far, it is literally you go from just one boss fight to another. There's no gameplay in between. There's maybe a walking section where you control where you go, but there's nothing. There's no platform or anything else to do. You're just walking towards the next fight while this, like I said, the guy with this kind of rabbit head costume kind of talks to you about, mental stuff. So, but yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. It's difficult. Even the first fight's difficult, because each boss has like multiple stages of their health bar. So I think the first boss has got like 5 stages in their bar. And when you drain their bar, it moves on to the next stage, which basically triggers a different set of patterns and so on. And your health bar is the same. I think you've got, at least where I am, I don't know if it gets any bigger, but I've got 3 segments at the moment. And if I beat the boss, beat one of his segments, my health bar refills. But similarly, if he takes down one of my segments, his health bar refills. So I've had a couple of times, especially in the second boss, where I've been 2 or 3 hits away from getting it to the next section, and they've hit me, and I went down, and then their health's refilled, and that's really annoying. But it's kind of like Dark Souls, because I know it's a mistake I've made. It's because I've not blocked, I've not the timing right on my parry and move, or I've not dodged at the right time, or I've not used my shooting mechanic when I'm supposed to. So it's really quite technical in how you go about the actual combat, and also the different levels have different layouts and tricks to them. So you've got to kind of use them to your advantage as well. It's really, really good. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm probably going to go back and play it after this, actually.
Would you think Fury then is a game for someone who thinks Dark Souls is massively overrated?
You know what? It plays differently to Dark Souls. I mean, I do kind of feel like almost every game I'm like, oh, it's got this bit from Dark Souls, but that's because I love Dark Souls. It's Dark Souls in that it's about learning the patterns of the bosses and knowing how to react to them. That's the way that it's like Dark Souls. That, and it's hard. The best way I heard it described, it was like if Platinum, it's almost like it's the best Platinum game that's not a Platinum game. It's that level of third person combat. It's so well put together. It's really slick, and the controls are just really tight. If there's no kind of, oh well, that control didn't quite do what I wanted to do. It's really precise. It does exactly what you want it to when you want it to. So it's all about knowing what to do in the right situation and when to do it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, if you've got Plus, there's no reason not to try it at all. I would definitely.
That's a good point, actually. I have got Plus, so I should give it a try.
Yes, you should.
No
and
excuses.
play it. It's awesome. But yeah, so yeah, I think definitely some interesting stuff being played this week. Which kind of brings us on to news stories. There's been quite a few news stories this week, but I think we're only really going to focus on 2 of the bigger ones. I'd like to just kind of start off with the whole CSGO Lotto kind of scandal that's been going on. Now, Cuttooth, it was you that kind of suggested talking about this first of all, so would you want to kind of start us off on that?
Yeah. I've not followed it hugely. It just seems like the biggest in terms of just scandals that there's been in gaming in quite a while, just because of the nature of it and what seems like the amounts of money involved in that side of something that I never knew even existed. I mean, I've played CS or Counter-Strike for quite a few years. CS:GO, well, I haven't played it in a few years, but I genuinely didn't know there was a side to this to Counter-Strike. But basically, it's with Counter-Strike Global Offensive. There's weapon skins. I mean, that's the sort of crux of it. There's weapon skins, and a bit like on Steam, you've got the trading cards that are basically JPEGs that you can sell for 5p, which is just still the most ludicrous thing I think I've seen in regards to Steam. Well, until this. But basically, and to be honest, I don't know that much about it. As far as I understand, there's crates in Counter-Strike, like there were in, say, Team Fortress.
Yeah.
And you can buy keys to get these crates, and these crates will have, say, weapon skins, and these weapon skins are, for some reason, worth sometimes thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's for the same reason that, like I said, the trading cards have got value, because there's people out there who are willing to pay it.
Yeah,
brilliant.
It's just so strange, because for it to work, I mean, this is sort of going off tangent a little bit, but for the trading card stuff to work, for all the trading stuff to work, enough people have to buy into it of it being an idea, and it happens so quickly.
It's the same kind of thing with microtransactions. If there wasn't a market for them, they wouldn't be there.
Yeah, exactly. It's just this self-sustaining thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with CS:GO, there's these crates, weapon skins, and these weapon skins are quite valuable. And someone set up a bunch of, or various people have set up a bunch of websites where people can. Did it stem from people betting on professional gamer matches, professional CS:GO matches?
Originally, I'm not sure. I know certainly this scandal kind of came about mostly because you had two YouTubers, particularly you had Trevor Martin, known as T Martin, and Thomas Cassell, known as Syndicate, who were both, high subscribers on YouTube and on their Twitch streams, and where, they made a big deal about how they'd found this CS:GO website where you could gamble to win, these weapon skins or whatever it is. And they made a big deal about it. They showed them playing it on their streams, then them winning it. And what they then failed to disclose at the time, that has obviously since came out, is that they actually owned that website. They owned CS:GO Lotto, but they were trying to portray it as this. Oh, look at this amazing site that we found, and oh, look, I'm winning all this stuff on it. When in actuality, this is your website. You're promoting your website. You're not disclosing that it's your website. You're not which then raises its own questions of, well, are the winnings that you're getting genuine? Have you rigged it so that you win it?
Well, even if they do, it would still go into their own website, so it doesn't matter. Yeah,
I mean, it's very, very ethically unsound. I think is the kind of
what I don't get is, are these websites, are you meant to gamble with like cheap weapon skins? So is that just like an entire economy based around it? Or is it you're actually putting in, say, credit card details and going $10 and you're betting that much to get?
Well, the idea is that you gamble this. I don't think it's real money that's involved. It's that you gamble certain things that you get through the game on this website, and then you can potentially win these weapons. Which, like you said earlier, some of them go for thousands of pounds. So they're winning these things that then have a sometimes substantial real world value, and it's obviously kind of being pushed as well. You're encouraging people to gamble, and especially this is open to anybody can do this. These children can do this.
That's the most heinous thing about
which
this.
Is absolutely disgusting. I don't have a problem with gambling. Sorry.
One of the videos, I think it was T Martin's. So there was someone was explaining all of this and used one of his videos as reference point.
Yeah.
So in one of his videos, he shows that he shows that you buy you pay money through like PayPal, and then you like unlock a skin, and so the little tiers you could buy, like you could enter a $10 pool or a $100 pool or whatever, and the more expensive the pool, potentially the bigger the prize. So I'm not sure. I didn't see anything about what you mentioned in that you like put skins up to and bet with that. Oh no, actually you're right. Sorry, I did see that. Yeah, there was that, but there's also another one where you just simply pay a fixed sum of money, like real cash, and so it's like a slot machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, and going back to what you're saying, this is available to anyone, including children who have their parents' card details. So it's very, very ripe for exploitation.
Are the Americans the Federal Trade Commission or like whatever American body it is that deals with gambling is looking into this now? Because it's always been kind of a grey area. It's been something that's been becoming more and more of a thing. As people gamble on games and things like that, and then this is obviously the kind of the big thing that's brought it to a head recently. And yeah, it's absolutely disgusting, and I don't see how there's any possible defence for that.
Did you see his defence?
I think I'd seen a bit of it, and it basically boiled down to it's, I did disclose. I'm sorry if people didn't know, and it's like, well, no, mate, you know exactly what you're doing. I think he went scrambled to go and update it in the aftermath to pretend it had always been like that, but obviously.
And he still didn't update the original video, I don't think.
No.
That's the very original video that he said
where he found
that he was involved. That he already said that he'd disclosed in his original video. He didn't update that one. And he clearly didn't, because you could see the video of him going, I found this wicked site, they might sponsor me and stuff. And it's like, you fucking knob.
It's just sleazy.
It's just like pure scum.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't want to completely tar them with it. I mean, it's on the one hand they're young guys. I'm going to give them the benefit and say they probably didn't anticipate it being a problem, and they probably didn't even think about it. As far as they
I don't know,
just
because I think
thing.
one of the guys have already got in trouble for not disclosing stuff. I'm not sure which one, but one of them have already got in trouble before for not disclosing stuff. Yeah,
but you're okay.
There's a bit of a shadiness to like some YouTube streamers or streamers and things. I mean, I know you guys here do quite a lot of streaming on GRcade, but so I'm sure you're all above board. But
we have no monetary income from the stream. We are fine. Carry on.
But it's just there's so much of it where these like YouTube stars, you just don't think about it, but they're getting the really big ones are getting so much money. Yeah. And you kind of wonder with some of them, well, how are they doing? Are they just going, well, if somebody offers you like a huge amount of money, because I think there was another person who basically said, oh, these people, like these sites offer you tons of money to do these videos. And it's almost like, yes, it is indefensible. But if you're, say, a young person, usually a guy in that situation, so say a young 19-year-old, 20-year-old male in that situation, here's 20 grand. Do you want to do this? Yeah, you're going to go, yeah, okay. Because what's the downside, really? Oh, you'll get a bit of. They'll probably think, oh, you get a bit of sort of bad PR, but it could potentially be so shady that the feds get involved.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. It's kind of related. Just before we kind of move on, it's PewDiePie, I think, has been in trouble this week because of his promotion for Shadow of Mordor.
Yes,
which wasn't disclosed at the time that Warner Brothers had paid him, and I think he's actually, that's happening this week.
Him and Warner Brothers have been punished for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, I think that was a bit of a thing at the time, because I do remember when that game came out, there was quite a few of the kind of critics were talking about how, yes, we don't have video to show you this game because Warner wouldn't give us it because we wouldn't sign up to their list of how we had to present this game to you, which then immediately puts a kind of shadow over everybody else who seems to have footage of it, because you're just going,
unintended.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's just like, well, Yeah, okay. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, so then it puts casts a shadow over those who do have the game, because you're going, well, I don't really trust anything you're saying then, because I know that Warner Brothers will have given you this game and you'll have had to agree to portray it in a certain way.
Was the Shadow Mordor a good game anyway?
It was.
I've not finished, but I quite like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any of these games. It has its issues, but yeah, otherwise Shadow of Mordor was genuinely a pretty good game. I need to go back to that as well. Yeah, it
kind of embargo.
It was like
restriction.
Doom. It was like Doom and the review embargo. Everybody's like, oh my god, it's going to be a train wreck. Why have they embargoed the reviews? And then, especially after the Deathmatch beta was pish, and then it comes out and they're like, this is really good. Why were you embargoing this? It's really, really weird. Really weird. And it's all about ethics and games journalism and YouTubing. Anyway,
let's not go too far down.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole. So moving on, the other kind of big story of the week, really, the past week and a half, and I think it kind of ties into what you're playing just now, because I know I've been playing it, is Pokemon GO. I mean, who here hasn't played it?
I'd be playing it now if
if it wasn't for this.
I had any Pokemon in the area.
Yeah.
Oh. I've played it for 5 minutes, and I just thought, I can't do this. I can't. I've seen people at work just going around in groups, and I just think, if I could see myself doing that, I think, you know what, I can't. I'm just going to stop right here. It's not going to happen. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Let it happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I mean,
you'll like it.
Now you're in a Pokemon Master Gaijin, man.
It's like being a 10-year-old all over again. You just can't. Well, you can't buy that kind of feeling. I'm going to say 16
because I was 16 when I first played Pokemon, which was somewhere in 1999, which was just before it came out over here. I played it and I got absolutely hooked on it. I was in America and I bought a Game Boy Color and a copy of Pokemon specifically because I'd heard of how amazing it was. Because I think ONM or NMS or whatever the official Nintendo magazine over here was called at that time were banging on about how amazing this game was and how they were petitioning to get it brought here.
Yeah, I remember that petition.
Yeah.
I think it was an N64 magazine as well.
Yeah, I think they were doing it too. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be over there. I want a new Game Boy. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get Mario. And I'm definitely going to get Pokemon. Then I picked it up and
there was a petition.
It changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it wasn't out over here yet. And I don't think they'd announced if it was coming out here yet.
Because it must have come out in, 1996 in Japan or something stupid like that?
96 in Japan. It didn't come out here till 99. I think America got it in 98.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm. So yeah. But I was really cynical about Pokemon GO a week and a half ago when all the stories first started appearing. So Pokemon GO. I was like, okay, I'm looking at it and everybody's based it was just a reskin of this other game that Niantic had done.
What's it called? Ingress?
Ingress, yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm not too sure about it. And then as it got closer and closer, I was kind of like, this actually sounds pretty good. I was like, okay, right. I thought, right, podcast's coming up. I'll play it so we can talk about it. Fair enough. So I did the Apple ID kind of workaround to get it, and I started playing it on Tuesday, I think. Tuesday or Wednesday, I started playing it on the way home. And the first thing I did when I got off the train, it was, pick your Pokemon. So got my starter, which was Charmander, and from the moment that Charmander appeared on the screen, and I flicked the Pokeball at it and it captured it, I was just like, I was grinning like an idiot. I was like, this is fucking amazing. And I don't know why, because it's nothing particularly special. It's not doing anything amazingly clever. It's just, here's a Pokemon, flick a ball at it, and here's some location-based stuff to do.
If there's a part of your brain that's dedicated to nostalgia, it's just firing on all cylinders when you're playing
absolutely.
This game.
Oh my god. The very next day was like the first full day with the game. I caught like 4 Pokemon on the way to work, but 6 on my tea break. Which is when, if you saw the picture I posted in the Pokemon GO thread, that's when I caught the horsey outside Glasgow's famous Seventh Heaven strip club. And yeah, there were a couple of Pokemon lures they put out, so I knew obviously there were other people around playing it. And then it's just been, my god, this is really good. So I've been kind of working through it, catching basically every time I see one I'm catching doing this, but it's really good. And I didn't think it would be. I've never had a mobile game where I've like, man, this game is really, really good. But this is it. And I like the fact that it doesn't impact on me playing any other games. because it's something I can do as I'm walking to work. It's something I can do when I'm on my tea break, when I wouldn't be playing anything else anyway. And
that's what I love about it.
For those 5 or 10 minutes, it's a perfect little time filler, and it's, oh my god, I love everything about it. So somebody else want to talk about it?
Well, I've been playing it, but I've only caught 30 Pokemon so far, because I have no reason to go out the house really. So I literally get a Pokemon pop up around the house.
Well, this is your reason. This is the reason.
Yeah.
I know. I
go for a walk, Pedz.
Need to go to the Pokemon gym. I was going to say the gym, but the Pokemon gym.
Why not both?
But I don't.
Exactly.
Well, I could go to both, but like the Pokemon list, it's literally been out in the UK for a few days.
Yeah.
A day.
Yesterday it came out.
Yesterday, and already the gym is being ruled by people with over 1,000 level CP Pokemon. It's like, how do people do it so quickly?
It was already like that.
My highest
Wednesday.
is 84. Or something
To be
like
fair,
that.
your highest is 84. What is the Pokemon?
Well, it might be a bit higher than that. I think one of my highest
No,
Pokemon is.
where is it? Because I had a Pidgey at less than 100, but the CP, the combat points were. If you look at the Pokemon, there's a semicircle.
Yeah.
And the more combat points you have, the further to the right the semicircle's filled, and that means that's like the cap. So if it's quite to the right, then you've got a strong Pokemon, and the trick is to keep that one and evolve it. So I had a Pidgey at like 84. I evolved it to Pidgeot this morning. It's now over 400. So it's not just it's not as impossible as it seems. You just need to get a high CP, get a Pokemon with high combat points, and then evolve it.
Yeah, so it's about catching. Your best bet is to catch everything you find, and then say you've got like 4 Pidgeys or whatever. Pick the one with, like Brian said, with the highest combat points. Trade in the rest to Professor Willow, which gives you Pidgey candy in this case, which you can then use to power up. Either power up the Pidgey, or if you've got enough, you can then evolve it into like Pidgeotto, and then obviously further down the line Pidgeot.
It is better to evolve it because the moves change on evolution, so you don't want to be wasting your time. Your star, what is it? It's not star points, but your Stardust. Yes, that's it. Your Stardust. You don't want to waste your Stardust and your candies leveling up a Pokemon that eventually doesn't have the moves that you want.
Yeah.
So which is why I went for Pidgeot, and I haven't checked the moves, but I don't really have the candy to boost it anyway. But I'll be checking that.
It'd be cool if they add in some more functionality like trading and battling. And
I think
someone
they are going to do that.
Yeah, someone data mined their update, so trading's there. I think PvP battling's there outside of gyms. There's a McDonald's promotion. Natures are in there. And I just realised that
this is going to be so big for so long, isn't it?
You know that McDonald's is going to become a bunch of Pokespots.
Oh yeah. Or something else. They might add in something else.
Yeah.
It could be
secret bases.
Secret bases. It could be
Team Rocket hideouts. Yeah.
It could be tournament spots or something. It could be anything.
How's the battling going to work? Is it going to be like the games, or is it just slightly different?
I don't think it will be. I mean, I haven't actually had any myself yet, simply because everybody at the driving, everyone at the gym is ridiculously overpowered. And I look at them and go, but I don't give this chance yet. But from what I understand, it's like you don't pick your move. It's your Pokemon automatically do. You'll have 2 moves. They'll have a standard move and a special move. They'll do the standard move automatically. You just have to tap on the other Pokemon to make them do it, and then over time they'll charge a special meter. Once that special meter's charged, you can then activate the special move. But obviously, it still takes into account things like your combat points and types and so on. So I mean, you can still have less powerful ones taking on higher level ones, but type advantage maybe comes into play. So you still have that. I need to play more of it to kind of get my head around that. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it, whether or not they can maintain the phenomenal start that it's had. I mean, it's ridiculous, but was it how big? How much a bump did the share price take? Was it 30%, 50%?
I think it went ridiculous. About 33%.
Yeah,
and pushing now quite over
so
$7 billion increase in the company's worth.
Yeah.
And they've not even made it, have they? They've just basically licensed it.
They have
they licensed it, but they own enough shares in Niantic and the Pokemon Company to get, depending on the exact breakdown, somewhere between 20 and 40% of all the revenue. And Miyamoto wasn't heavily involved. He and Iwata were involved.
I think when they were talking about the basic concept and how it was going to work, they kind of helped shape that. From what I read, it was the guy. Remember, I think it was a couple of years ago. They did that thing on Google Maps where Pokemon started appearing.
That was kind of the trigger.
That was the kind of thing that kicked off the whole idea, and it kind of evolved from there. But I think it's had a phenomenal start. Don't be wrong, I think it will die off quite quickly. I think it will drop down to a far smaller level, but a level that will still be very successful for them. I think once the initial hype and kind of fadness of it passes, it will settle into a nice plateau where it will kind of stay at a nice level as long as they keep adding stuff and keep it updated, new bits. I think it'll do very, very well for them. And it's just, I'm just loving seeing the number of people I'm seeing is walking about doing, playing Pokemon is ridiculous. And I'm thinking, and these are all grown ups. These are all grown up people. These are not like children. I've barely seen any children playing it. But
seems to have hit that nostalgia sweet spot for a lot of people.
Exactly.
That's what it is, isn't it?
So
it's I remember when I was 10 and I was playing Pokemon, and I had a future that wasn't ruled by mundane shit.
See, well, that's it. I'm going to be a bit of a cynical bastard here and see the number of people I've seen kind of. Not necessarily on Facebook and Twitter, but on things like where it's like radio stations or the BBC or whatever, going, oh yeah, we're all these people playing it, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, you look exactly like the kind of person that would have made fun of people for playing Pokemon, part of me is the cynical bastard in me is just saying you're just jumping on the bandwagon yourself now. It's not that you particularly loved Pokemon back in the day, but you were just, because you were too cool for it or whatever. But now it's cool, so you're cool.
I was too cool for Pokemon, but I still played it.
Like I said, I was 16 when I started playing Pokemon. I was
never
going to be cool. Obviously, because it was popular with the 10, 11, 12-year-olds in my school, I was 16.
That would have been me.
It was not cool for me to like Pokemon at that point. But I'm so glad it's back. I'm so glad not that it's ever went away, but I'm so glad it's had this big push for it again, and I think it's been some much needed good news for Nintendo. It's been so long since we've had something really positive to say for them, and I'm so glad. It's like, okay, they can still pull stuff out of the hat. They can still knock it out the park when it really matters. And I think it gives me a bit more faith going forward.
So just to add, it's interesting that the big booms for Nintendo are sort of fads that I don't know they necessarily plan out. I don't think they really planned Pokemon Go to be quite this big.
But that kind of goes with every success. I mean, if you account on everything being a huge success, and it doesn't pan that way, that's a lot of wasted money. It's
that's a lot of their other years, isn't it?
Huh?
That's a lot of their other years.
Yeah, and it's kind of why with big multiplayer online games, you must always see server problems, because if you overcompensate, and you don't need it, you'll waste a lot of money.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, even Blizzard running one of the biggest, if not the biggest, MMO, can't keep their servers consistently up. Diablo 3.
Like you said, there's the fact that if they overestimate the servers and there's no queues, then like you said, they've kind of overspent money. Plus, I think EA particularly are bad for this, especially with stuff like SimCity. It was like they know that they can put in a certain amount of servers, and they know people are going to have trouble, but they know that after a few days it's going to settle down and they're not going to be as busy, so they don't need to bother. I think there's an element. I think there's an element of that in when things like these. But yeah, it's definitely something any big online game faces these days, especially if it's more successful than they are expecting it to be. And I do think it has maybe been a bit more viral, if to use a modern term, than they perhaps thought it was going to be. But
I honestly
I
do
do
see
think
it being this big.
I think there's been a big kind of, I don't want to say underground, but a big kind of silent marketing push on it. The number of like news stories and things that appeared in the run up to this game coming out, just it smacked very much to me of Nintendo putting this stuff out there and maybe forwarding these onto these news companies and going, oh, look at this thing that happened when this person played this game. Look at this, look at this, look at this. And I think that's generating a lot of buzz because there's all these news stories about it. I mean, God's sake, it was in this BBC 6 o'clock news the other day. I mean, what the hell is that about? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a
out
game.
In the country. That's the key bit.
Yeah.
Days before it was officially out in the country, it was on national news.
Yeah. That is very, very clever marketing.
I don't know. I don't feel that it's marketing. I feel that because it's an online game, maybe call me optimistic if you want, because it's an online game, Nintendo didn't really want to crash the servers, so kind of just snuck it out there. Because I mean, it took. But here's the thing: it took a prominent place at E3.
Yeah,
I mean, why would you put something on E3 and then just actually? Yeah, that kind of works against my point.
But what kind of works for you better? Saying, oh, we released this game, it's out now, you can play it, or yeah, we released this game, it was so popular that we couldn't cope with the demand. It's like there's so many people playing this game, that's how popular it is, that's how good it is. Look at how many people are playing our game. We can't even cope with the server demand at this point, we're having to add in more. It's all marketing. It's everything about it is marketing, and I think Nintendo are very, very good at it. Nintendo are so good at marketing in a way that you don't necessarily realize it's marketing.
Which is ironic, given how
badly they marketed the Wii U. I think the marketing for the Wii U was so good. It was so good that it was so subtle, nobody noticed it, and that's what happened.
Yeah, they went too far toward the subtlety.
Yes,
and now they just perfected it.
Exactly, yes. Anyway, let's kind of moving on, because there were a couple other wee things I just very, very quickly want to go through. Obviously, Mini NES is coming. Yes, please. That looks really cool.
Want.
Yes.
Would get if I was that interested. SNES more likely, N64 almost definitely.
I'll get them all.
Yeah, I'd go.
Give me a mini Wii U as well.
Yes.
Give me a mini Wii with Xenoblade.
Mini GameCube.
Give me mini everything.
So moving on.
Maybe not everything. Moving on. And the only other thing I kind of wanted to point out, is after our kind of fair and balanced portrayal of the Xbox last time, we had what I thought was actually quite good announcement for the Xbox. Obviously, Red Dead Redemption got back compatibility, and it's the best version of it so far. So I am a little bit. I do kind of take back a little bit what I said about the Xbox. Now that is pretty sweet. Red Dead's fucking awesome.
I got quite bored of it.
Obviously, you guys have got Xboxes. Are you going to be picking up Red Dead?
I've still got my
Red Dead.
Yeah, I've got my 360 copy kicking around.
So yeah, I've got it digitally on the 360 for £6 not long ago, and I've had it on disc for a while as well. Mm-hmm. I go to Mexico and then I just stopped playing it. Which, going by GRcade, everyone who stopped playing the game stopped in Mexico.
I got it quite a few years after it came out, and I saw how Mexico was kind of the brick wall. So I feel that pushed me towards going through most of Mexico, but as I got towards the end of it, only because I somehow knew, I think I looked up, that there wasn't much of the game left, I pushed myself to finish it, but by then I was very sick of it, and I can't see myself returning to it, given that if I were to play something like that, I'd just play GTA 5 on PC. There's no real draw to Red Dead for me. I got really bored.
Cuttooth, man, salvage this talk. Man.
I enjoyed Red Dead more than GTA. I've never
I think it's
finished
the best GTA.
because, but Red Dead I actually find enjoyable until Mexico.
Yeah, sorry, Cuttooth, you're saying you think it's like the best GTA?
Basically, yeah. I mean, if of that sort of type of game, of that DNA, is I enjoyed it way much more than the GTAs I played. I mean, I've played them all. I've played basically 3, Vice City. Well, first 2 actually. I've played first 2 and 4 and 5. I've played most of them, but Red Dead just had something else. I think it was just the obviously the Old West sort of setting, that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean that really works for me. I really liked it. And I was reading something the other day. I think it might have been on Eurogamer actually. They were talking about Red Dead, and they were saying how it's because of the setting of Red Dead. Obviously, it's because it's out in like the West, and you've got this massive, wide open area that you can explore in, and it's almost a character in itself. It lets them do a completely different tone of game. So they can do this kind of more serious open world almost GTA with horses that they could never really do in the GTA games, because GTA's got a far more subversive, satirical take on it. I mean, this is a game. I think this is what they say is, GTA is a game where you can visit an internet cafe called Twat. It's tonally very different, and Red Dead lets them do something a bit more grown up, which I think is really kind of cool. And they have to be working on this sequel.
I think they definitely are.
It has to be.
One of the main differences I've found with, say, I mean, at the time on 360, it was like GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption were the 2 GTA games. One of the things I found fascinating about Red Dead Redemption was that you could you could shoot someone, kill someone in the open wilderness, and nobody would know. Yeah. Whereas there's always because you've obviously this urban area in GTA 4. If you did that, chances are someone's going to hear it, so you have to run immediately. Yeah. So that it was immediately sort of different because of that. And I think it had with the ending, and I think I don't like it when people go into sort of like, oh, I wish the ending was this, and write a completely different thing. But
no, I love the ending.
I thought the ending. I thought Rockstar were just on the pinnacle of having one of the best endings any game could ever had, but they just sort of didn't put enough into it, because they did the genius thing of having all the way through you had John, what's his name, John Marston?
Yeah.
You had him fighting for his cause, a very sort of standard sort of cause of his family, his wife and his child, his family. And then they give you that, and it's boring as hell. But it shows you like how difficult that life is, that farming life, and how you've gone on this grand adventure, killing all these people to save them, and you've got it. And as a player, you don't care.
You've got no investment in these people that just suddenly appeared off.
And that's what made it amazing.
I can see your point. And then obviously that ending was, I loved that. It was really good. Dragon.
I disagree. Despite not liking the game, I felt that you spend all this time with the character, knowing what his aim is. So you kind of, for me, it was a case of, okay, I would like to see him get that goal. But I found that end predictable in that I was kind of expecting it to end that way.
Yeah.
But I did throughout the game kind of feel that, he's got his goal. And the more I play and find out about it, I do want him to get that goal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Anyway, kind of moving on, because we're kind of taking a little bit longer than I planned, but we'll move on. Just a couple other things I want to obviously mention. First of all, Evo has started, so fucking brilliant. That's going on right as we speak. I am putting that on the moment we're done here. So obviously, fighting fans, check that out. There's a thread in the games forum for that just now with all the streams and schedule on there for you to check out. Yep. So just quickly, anybody else going to be watching Evo?
I'm watching Smash.
I'm not watching Smash.
Idea. I have no idea.
I'll probably watch some Street Fighter.
Yeah.
If I get time on Monday, I'll give the Street Fighter finals a watch because they're coming up Sunday night for us.
Yeah. I think I'm probably going to watch mostly Street Fighter tonight, so I'll put Street Fighter on just in the background because at this point it's all pools and stuff. It's nothing important. Tomorrow I'm pretty much just going to have on the mainstream, which is like finals for I think it's Tekken, Killer Instinct, Smash Brothers Wii U, and a couple other games I think are tomorrow. Just that's basically all day. It's all finals for those games. So I'll put them on because I prefer watching the finals when it's it's getting to the kind of the head of the whole thing. In the pools, it's kind of I'm not that fussed about, but certainly finals for me.
See, I'm less interested in things like that compared to like speedrun, like SDK, some games done quick and awesome games done quick. Seeing a big variety of speedruns is a lot more entertaining to me than watching two people fighting in the game, if you can get my drift.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's what I was kind of going to bring us to next. Obviously, a week or so ago, just over a week ago it finished. We had Summer Games Done Quick, which obviously is the week-long charity speedrunning event. And as usual, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I loved every minute. I actually took I took Thursday, Friday off work, basically just so I could sit in the house and watch it. So I loved that. And as usual, it ended in my personal highlight, which is always Super Metroid, which was a phenomenal run. Any of you guys watched that Metroid run?
I'm not.
I'm planning to play for the first time, to my shame, finish Super Metroid.
I'm a similar boat.
So hopefully I'll be doing that next weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, you two are not allowed on here again until you play and finish Super Metroid. I am sorry. I'm going to put that in the thread. This is going to be a prerequisite for being on this podcast. You must have played Super Metroid to completion.
I played it, I just never finished it.
That's what I said, to completion. Shame, the pair of you.
For shame.
I mean, 10 minutes is enough, right?
Even I didn't.
No, not quite. The time for the speed run, this was 46 minutes.
There you go. So you practically played like a fifth of the game.
Yeah. Well, I played through it myself. I did a run of it about 6 months ago on stream, and I actually kind of watched it again. Well, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I kind of checked it out again the other night there. And at my time for it was exactly 4 hours, like to the second 4 hours. So, which is probably my personal best. So I need to get that down. I'm going to do one in October, which I will come to in a moment. But yeah, I mean, Pedz, obviously, I know you watched a decent amount of it. What was your kind of highlights?
That's a tough one. There was so many.
Pick a couple.
Oh, I don't know. Let's think, because like it started on a high note with like Mario and stuff like that. There's some things I haven't actually watched yet because I haven't found the YouTube archives of them. So I'd have to think on what I enjoyed.
Don't say Pedz, you're useless. Yes, Dragon, Pepsi Man. Pepsi Man was absolutely amazing.
That came after Mario Maker, right?
Yeah, it came after Mario Maker. Now I've been looking forward to it anyway because I'd seen it before. One night on Mumble, I think we sat and we watched that a run through on YouTube. Like a whole group of us just sat and watched the clip. I think it was a 5-part run through, and we were pissing ourselves laughing. So I was looking forward to that. But it was so good, wasn't it?
Mario Maker was fantastic. I still have to watch the AGDQ, the Awesome Games one from January, but
that was awesome as well.
I watched this. I watched the summer one, and it was incredible. I mean, some of the levels are just fantastic. Especially, I think my favorite is probably the music one, just because of how cleverly designed it is.
That was.
I'll tell you one highlight. Sorry for interrupting, but Symphony of the Night Blindfolded was fucking wow.
Yeah.
That was tragic.
What, tragic that it kind of fell to bits?
Yeah, the controller.
Yeah. It's always
that was.
It's one of those moments that you're at the one half you're kind of like, on the one hand, you're like, oh my god, that sucks, but on the other hand, you're like, haha, that's funny as fuck. It's really, really kind of, especially when he kind of figured out what was going on, and it wasn't anything he could have done about it. It's not like he fucked up; it was the pad was being weird. But yeah, I mean, those are definitely all good highlights. Cuttooth, I mean, what was did you have a personal highlight?
I struggled to watch it because the time obviously it's in like Central Time America.
Yeah, it was Missouri, I think it was.
And I struggled to watch some of it because, quite a lot of it. So I caught like some of the highlights, and I watched I think the Castlevania thing live, and I thought my heart sank for that guy. And I think Pepsi Man, I watched the recordings. I didn't watch much else. I think I watched like one of the Zeldas. I think what's the newest one on DS?
Link Between Worlds.
Yes, that's it. And I thought that was quite interesting.
Is that the one where the guy's battery died?
It might have been. It might.
No, I don't think it was. I'm sure the guy played through it all. I have no idea what game the battery died, but I don't think it was Link Between Worlds.
We'll find it. But yeah.
I think I struggled because whenever I watched it live a few times, and I didn't really have long to watch it. It was more about like setting up and like the bits between games, and their schedule seemed to be sort of behind schedule quite a lot, which is like to be fair to them, I don't think it's like a super professional setup. It's just like a group of people coming together to do this for charity, and they did raise like over $1.2 million.
$1.2 million they got in the end.
That's pretty amazing.
It's insane. Especially because I think before they started the Super Metroid run, I don't think they'd quite made the million yet. Or if they had, they just made the million, and they were like, right, we're putting in an extra game. If we can beat last year's total, we'll do in like a Super Mario 64 run at the end. So they got about £200,000 in dollars, in about 2 hours. It was ridiculous.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic event and a fantastic cause, and it's always good to see kind of gamers doing stuff like that. Which segues quite nicely into the last part of our games section, which is kind of run a bit longer than I intended again, but we'll see what we can do. Sick Kids Save Point is coming up again in October. It's the weekend of the 14th, 15th, and 16th. So Friday the 14th onwards. Once again, we will be gaming 24 hours non-stop for charity, and we'll be raising money for the Sick Kids Friends Foundation. So the thread for that is up in games at the moment. Get in there, get signed up. It's great fun. We raised some money for charity, and I mean last year we raised almost £3,200, which was just a phenomenal amount from considering how small a forum we are. And how there was only maybe about 5 or 6 of us actually doing it. I think that was phenomenal amount of money to kind of get. So we're really wanting to kind of push it again this year and get as many people taking part as possible. So just get into the thread, have a read through, sign up, and we'll see what we can do. I mean, I know Pedz, you've already said that you can't take part. But what about you? Either of you guys, would you be interested in joining us for it this year? So far, myself, Slarex, and Runemaster have said we're all going to do it.
It's something I'm definitely looking into because it's been running a few years now, and every time I thought I could do that, but I just never. I don't know. I never crossed that bridge, I guess. So certainly, I'll definitely take a look at it. At the very least, I'll support sort of everyone who's doing it.
Yeah, you should totally take part, man. It's so easy. It's so easy to get involved. Literally, all you have to do is show up and game. Beyond that, all you're doing is fundraising. Just like getting your friends, family, and that to make donations. That's literally all you're doing. You don't need to devote weeks and weeks of your time to it. So that's what I kind of like about it is we can do this great thing, and it's for not very much effort on our part, and we get to do. Like I said, the 24-hour thing, which, don't be wrong, it knackers you by the end. Last year I was falling asleep in the last hour when I was playing Battlefront, which you can see on stream. You can see me nodding off. But I love doing it. It's great fun. It's for a great cause. And yeah, I mean, I definitely want to get more people involved, especially people who stream Dragon.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very interested in doing it. I just need to work out a couple of things to
man.
See how free I'll be in October. So yeah, I mean, I'd literally love to commit as soon as possible, but I need to wait for a couple of scheduling things to come through. And
that's cool.
how the weekend shapes up.
then I will. If you need anything from me, I can help you out with that.
I mean, what I'd have noticed, literally Civ 6 comes out the week after, which is a shame because I'd have loved to put that into mine.
Civ would be a great. You could just play that for 24 hours.
Yeah, I think
you could play Civ 5.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was thinking about it, so I think I'll do probably at least Perfect Dark 64 on Xbox, Rogue Leader, and a bit of Civ 5.
Play Beyond Earth.
Nah, I've got that in the expansion pack, but could be done.
But yeah, so hopefully, man, you'll be able to join us because I think it'd be great, especially if we could have a whole basically 48 hours non-stop stream. So I would do it on the Friday or something, and you would do it the Saturday or something. That would be really cool. But yeah, so that's coming up, guys. Have a look at that on the thread, and if you want to check out their website, that's sickkidssavepoint.com. Okay, so we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back for our second and final section, which is just stuff. So stuff that we've been watching, stuff that we've been doing, and a couple other bits and pieces. So what have you been watching, Dragon? Anything interesting?
Mainly since Game of Thrones finished, I've just been watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. People said, or someone said, it's like Seinfeld, but modernized, kind of eccentric. It's enjoyable. It's just funny. It's just good, easy watching.
How far into are you?
I think I'm on season 3. I literally just keep.
So Frank's
keep resuming on Netflix. Huh? Yeah. He's been in for a while. He's fantastic.
I love it. It's so good. I love that not a single one of them is a likable person. They're all arseholes. It's fucking brilliant. It's like a British sitcom but done in America.
It's incredible. It's just you just watch it just to see the chaos unfold and just see how ridiculous they act. But before it I was watching Curb Your Enthusiasm and it kind of fits the same just funny chaos kind of theme. So you can just sit back and relax and watch it.
Yeah, it's like the cynical worldview. Yeah, definitely. Oh no, that's great show that. Yes, definitely keep that up. I loved it. Pedz, what have you been watching?
I have been watching a show which is based on a comic called Preacher.
Ooh, I've watched the first 2 of it. It's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's like I've never read the comics. The show has made me think, should I go read the comics? Because, like The Walking Dead years ago, I watched that.
Yeah.
Up to season 2-ish, halfway through. Then I decided to read the first 100 comics, and then I never went back to the show then because I was like, the comics are so much better than it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good show, Preacher. It's basically about a preacher who gets some kind of power endowed on him.
Yes.
And he's got a friend who seems like some kind of monster thing, and he doesn't realize it. And he's got this crazy ex-girlfriend who's in there who's called Tulip, and she's a nutcase. Anyway, it's pretty damn funny as well as it just being generally good entertainment.
Yeah, no, it's good. I've read some of the comics. I think I've read the first 15 or 20 of the comics, and the comics are really, really good as well. They're well worth reading. Although I think the storyline they're kind of doing is not one I'm familiar with from the comics, so I know there's a couple of people on the forum that have read the comics. Saint of Killers, for example, is a big fan of the comics. In fact, his name is a character from the comics. And I think there's somebody else, I can't remember who it was, but I think they were saying I think they're doing an arc from later on in the comics. So that's kind of cool for me because while I know the characters, I don't necessarily know what's going to happen, which is good. But yeah, it's been really good. I think Dominic Cooper's he's quite good as Jessie. She's really good as Tulip, actually. I can't remember her name, but she's really good. And
Fraser, guy was like, I recognise her. Who the hell is she?
She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Exactly. I clicked on when I looked on Internet Movie Database.
So she's really good. And then the guy that plays Cassidy, again, I can't remember his name, but I believe he was in East Emmerdale. He's absolutely brilliant. He's fantastic. He absolutely nailed it. So, but yeah, Preacher's been good so far. I need to catch up with the ones I've missed. But it's been pretty sweet. Cuttooth, what about you, man? Anything interesting?
Well, this week it's been like the return of Mr. Robot to start the second season. I don't know if anyone's here has watched the first season.
Yeah, I've never watched it. I've seen people talking about it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
It's absolutely good, brilliant. It's probably, the first season probably the best new show of last year. I think it's basically a show about I'd say antisocial hacker who struggles with being sort of this security IT expert by day and literally a hacker by night, and his sort of paranoid delusions and all this sort of great character building and everything, because he's a hacker by night, and he gets sort of recruited into this like hacker circle to take down this literally big corporation called E Corp, and it's literally sideways E, like Enron. It's like there's just no bones about it. And they in the show it's called Evil Corp, and what I like about it is that because the audience is meant to be almost like this figment of the character's imagination in some sense.
Yeah.
It's never called E Corp in the show. It's always called Evil Corp, even as say like a news headline's called Evil Corp. So it's that kind of thing. It's like that kind of way of building a story is having the audience involved rather than just watching it. They are a character themselves. But anyway, the first season was absolutely brilliant. Really plays on that sort of antisocial feeling, because the entire show is shot so that like everyone is almost like on the edge of the screen. So you've got a huge amount of space and like a head right on the edge of the screen, and it's just constantly like that, like everyone's just drifting away. But anyway, first season was superb. It's I can't remember the guy who plays the main character, but Christian Slater plays Mr. Robot.
Christian Slater?
Yeah.
Oh my god, so...
Yeah. And he's fantastic in it. So he plays this guy called Mr. Robot, and there's always this very great mystery to sort of hit that guy's background and how he relates to sort of this main character.
Mr. Robot isn't the guy that's like on the... it says Mr. Robot. It's got like... the billboards basically. Isn't that guy the guy from Until Dawn?
Yes. What? No, that's not Mr. Robot.
That's what I'm saying. Because it says when you see Mr. Robot, you see that specific.
Yeah,
actor.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, because I assumed that the actor who I assume is the main character is always the thing, and it says Mr. Robot. I assumed he was Mr. Robot or something, but clearly he's not. No, cool, man. That sounds really good, actually.
Yeah.
And you sold me as soon as you hit Christian Slater. I fucking love Christian Slater. Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out. Bro, it sounded good before you mentioned Christian Slater. I don't want you to think you were underselling it. I'm going, it's passionate about Christian Slater. And I went, oh my god, yes. No, it definitely sounds good. I'll need to check that out, actually.
Yeah, and then the second season's just started this week. And
it's on Amazon Prime, isn't it?
That's right.
I think I'll watch it now.
As is
Preacher. Yep, Preacher's awesome. You should watch that. And that's only on episode 7, though. Episode 8, I don't know when that's out, but soon.
And It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is on Netflix. I, on the other hand, I've not really been watching anything, but I did start watching something yesterday, and Peter Crisp will probably thank me for this, because, I'm going to thank him, because it was him that put me onto it. It's a show called The Expanse. It's a sci-fi show, when I say sci-fi, I mean the channel, which normally kind of puts me off, because... frankly, sci-fi, for every Battlestar Galactica they make, they've got tons of garbage that they also make. So whenever I see that, I'm always kind of like,
Have they actually made anything good since Battlestar Galactica?
The Expanse, so far, has been pretty sweet. Kind of Peter Crisp, he was talking to me about it last week, and he was saying it's almost like a detective show in space. And I was kind of like, all right, okay. And then I didn't think anything of it. And then I was just kind of moving around the forum looking at random stuff. And I think I was in the trading folder, and he'd made a thread saying that he had a code for the free season, the first season to download. And somebody took it. And I was like, oh yeah, that was that show he was talking about. So I downloaded it. And I've watched the first 2 episodes, and it's pretty good so far. It starts off like some of the stuff I've read about it is they've said it's like, it's Game of Thrones in space, which I'm kind of like, all right, okay. But there's a couple of people in it. Thomas Jane's in it, which immediately I'm kind of like, all right, cool. Punisher's in this, fair enough. He plays like this detective on this space station in the asteroid belt in the solar system, because it's set like in the 23rd century or something like that. So you've got Earth, you've got Mars, and then you've got the asteroid belt, where they mine all the ice from all these comets or something. And Earth and Mars are like pretty much in the middle of a cold war with each other. And there's this. It's the very first scene before the credits is this woman waking up in a spaceship, and she's trapped in this room. And she comes out, and then she basically gets attacked. And Thomas Jane gets employed to find her and find out what's happened to her. So he's kind of investigating that. And the other storyline that I'm following at the moment is that there's this ship that's bringing ice to the belt, because they while they mine it, they don't necessarily get it. All the ice goes to Earth or Mars. So, and they investigate a distress signal, and it's the ship that the woman was on at the start, and then it turns out it's a trap. And I don't want to say too much, because I would definitely recommend watching it so far. Like I said, I'm only 2 episodes in, but it's been really quite interesting so far. And there's like different tiers in society. So you've got like the kind of rich Earth people who are on this space station, and then you've got the kind of the underclass who do all the work, and they're known as belters, and they're all slightly deformed or misshapen because they've grown up in low gravity. So they've got like guys with like really long limbs because they've just grown and grown and grown in really weird ways. It's quite interesting, man. So yeah, check that out.
I think
I would check it out, but you said, it's like Game of Thrones in space that people have said, and it's like, I don't like Game of Thrones. I'm probably the only person on the planet who doesn't.
Probably. From what I can tell, I mean, it seems like there's going to be lots of different characters, and I don't quite trust anyone at this point. I think different people are going to have different motivations and things that they're trying to do, and different situations that they're in. So I think that's maybe what they mean. But yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying it so far.
I think if Christian Slater sold you Mr. Robot, Tom Jane just sold me this one.
Excellent. I'm glad I kind of cut in there early with Thomas Jane. Yeah, he's been pretty good so far. Like I said, he plays he's one of these belter guys, and so he's like he's grew up in this low gravity, so he's slightly every person's different. They've all got what they call a tell, which is something that like a mutation or something, basically, so you can tell that they're what they call a belter. And his is like he's got this thing just at the base of his neck and behind his back, and it's where his bones haven't quite grown properly. So that's kind of cool. And he plays like this detective guy, who just like harasses the local underworld and stuff. He's pretty good. So yeah, that's the Expanse. I'm not entirely sure what it's on. I think it might be on Amazon Prime as well, but I'm not sure. I need to check that out. Which brings us to random topic of the week, which may be a thing. Certainly, it's going to be a random topic this week at least. And I'm just going to ask you a question, and I'm going to, give me your answer. What your answer would be. So we'll start with, well, it's all the same question, so it doesn't matter who I start with. But Super Dragon 64. What is your favourite British sitcom?
Fawlty Towers, without a doubt.
Good shout.
I've watched. I mean, there are only 12 episodes, so it didn't take long for me to watch it years and years ago. But even now, I can put on an episode and still laugh as if it were the first time I'm watching it. It is fantastic.
Very
pretty
good
timeless. I mean, it's what 70 odd years old now. 40 years old now. Sorry, he came out in the 70s.
Fucking hell, John Cleese isn't that old.
But it holds up remarkably well. If you've never seen it, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, oh no, absolutely.
And if you're older than like 10 and you've never seen it, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's absolutely timeless. So yeah, very very good shout. Cuttooth, go.
Oh god. I'm gonna say I'm Alan Partridge.
I could watch another very good shout.
I could watch every episode randomly if it's on whatever channel it's on, like probably Gold or something like that.
Yeah.
If there was like a random episode and I watched it, I'm gonna laugh. You know?
Yeah. No, I'm exactly the same. I absolutely love that show, and it's just so like all the best British sitcoms. It's so well written. I'll maybe talk a wee bit more about that in a minute. Pedz, go on. What's yours?
Mine is Spaced.
3 very good shouts. Yes, Spaced is awesome.
Spaced is fucking-tastic. I love Spaced. I've watched it. When I watch something once, I tend to never watch it again. Same when I play something, I tend to never play it again unless it's something like Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, best NES game.
Yeah.
But Space is a program I've watched numerous times, so it shows to me just how good it is.
Yeah, Spaced, again, I would agree. It's very well put together. It's very well written. And I think it's a slightly different from obviously Faulty Towers and Alan Partridge. And what I was going to say about those two is that they're part of that great kind of British tradition of the main character being fundamentally not a very nice person, but the humour comes from watching them get into these situations and then trying to kind of extricate themselves from them or trying to come out on top of them. Whereas Spaced, I think, is fundamentally quite different because it definitely almost feels a bit more optimistic in its kind of worldview. It's almost a bit more American in the way it's done. I think that kind of shows in how it's shot and how it's filmed and how they wrote it. But yeah, no, definitely a very good shout there. And I do like that we've all had different answers, so that's definitely good. And my answer is going to be different as well, but I think they're all very worthy. My answer would probably be Father Ted. It's for me, it's hands down my favourite sitcom. But again, like Faulty Towers, like I Am Alan Partridge, and maybe not so much Spaced, because there were 1 or 2 episodes of Spaced that I was a bit kind of about. It's perfect for me. There's not a bad episode of it. It's every scene, every joke more or less lands in that series, and it's the cast's phenomenal, the writing's amazing, and it's just so surreal and silly and stupid, and it really shouldn't work, but it does, and I love it for it.
Can I give an honorable mention to Blackadder seasons 2 to 4?
Yes, again, so many good series. Yeah, Blackadder again, amazing show. The thing that actually kind of inspired this was I was on, of all places, I was on IGN last night, and they had a top 25 British sitcoms, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good topic. I'm going to steal that."
What came first?
So yeah, The Office. Which I was like, really? The top 3 was Blackadder, Faulty Towers, and then The Office. Or was it Father
I did
Either way,
not like it at all, man.
The Office?
No, can't stand it.
No, I like it. I think it's
I can't stand it. I don't like
Ricky
Ricky Gervais in anything either, so that doesn't help things.
No, I think if you don't like Ricky Gervais, then you're not going to like The Office.
Out of interest, is Speed 3 your favourite Father Ted episode?
I don't know. I think my favourite one, there's so many, it's impossible to narrow it down. But I've always loved. I mean, that's the whole season. Season 3 is excellent. So season 1 and 2. But I think if I had to pick a favourite, it would probably be kicking Bishop Brennan up the arse.
That's like the penultimate one, wasn't it?
I think that was the penultimate one. Yes. It's just, oh my god, that whole episode is start to finish. It's perfect. It's everything about it lands. My god, that's not my favourite one. I don't know that any one of them could easily have a shout at it, because, like I said, there's not a bad episode of it. And I think it ran just the perfect length. Okay, not necessarily for the correct reasons, or not the correct reason, but the reason that we'd liked it to have ended. But it it ended at the right time.
I always thought it did end. It was ending as it was going to end, and it was just unfortunate, sort of.
Yeah, I think it was. It probably was going to be like the end, but I think it's like any of these things where it ends, but they've always got the choice of bringing it back maybe a couple of years later and doing another couple of series for it to end, and then obviously for Dermot Morgan to have that to die the way he did. That's basically going. It's like basically putting the seal on it and going, okay, that's it, never any more of that. Which is a shame. And then obviously, what was it this year? Was it this year Frank Kelly passed away, or was it? Yeah, that was just absolutely gut as well. I mean, obviously he was older, but it was.
The way celebrity deaths have been this year, did you really need to ask?
Yeah, that's why I was pretty sure it was this year. I wasn't sure. But yeah, so there we go. Random topic of the week: our favourite British sitcoms. Which brings on to our last item we're going to go through just briefly is forum focus. So a couple of threads on the forum again that we're going to take a quick look at, and again more or less ask a question and get an answer. So lost foods of a bygone era, which is currently playing out in the stuff thread. What foods from your youth do you miss, and should they bring back? Cuttooth.
I saw a bit of this thread, and I think it was like one of the first posts was Bunny saying Cadbury Astros, and just that. Just such a great little. It came in a little box, Just you don't get that anymore for some reason.
It's always sad when a chocolate leaves us.
Yes. But Whisper came back, so.
Whisper came back. It's like they don't often come back, but Whisper came back. And it's still with us. God bless you, Whisper. I remember once I got my mum went to like Costco, like the big cash and carry place.
Yeah.
Just after they came back, and she bought me a box of Whispers, and I kept it under my bed, and it was like I'd just come into the room, sit down, and just reach under my bed and pull out a Whisper. It was magical. Anyway, Pedz.
I can't think of any foods, only drinks. Is drinks good enough?
Drinks are good enough.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Can't get it in the UK. And also a drink that I really enjoyed back when I was in school, but during PE I'd grab a can, would be Red Card.
I've never heard of Red Card.
It was really nice. Very nice drink.
Good to know. Good to know.
It's not that good to know now because
what did it taste like? What kind of drink was it? Was it a cola drink or was it something?
No,
different?
It was like a fruit drink, I think.
Mm-hmm. Was it fizzy?
It was fizzy.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was kind of pop like. Yeah, it was.
Pop.
It's just pop. It's just a shame that they stopped doing it. I don't know why. I don't know why they stopped doing Mountain Dew, bastards.
I don't know. I'm gonna assume Mountain Dew just wasn't selling the amount that they needed.
I heard that it was the sugar content, and that's why it came back as an energy drink in the UK.
Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
Surely not. I mean, we sell Iron Brew in this country. It can't have been just the sugar content.
I guess it was just a rumour then. But Mountain Dew is good.
Nah, I never got on the Mountain Dew. Although I do love Doritos. So, for me, I think, kind of tying into what I just said about selling Iron Brew, I wish they would bring back Iron Brew bars. They were absolutely amazing. Do you remember like Wham bars?
Yeah.
Yeah, same idea, except it was Iron Brew flavoured. And they actually stopped making them because of like the public backlash at the damage they were doing to kids' teeth. They would like dissolve your teeth. But they were just like pure sugar and acid, and they were absolutely amazing. And you can't get them anymore because of goody two shoes parents and dentists. My grown ass adult.
Too many of them and then melted guts, man.
No, man. Oh, they were so good. They were so good. But then I just love Iron Brew in general. And quite rightly too.
But you've got to, you're Scottish.
That is true. It's the other national drink after the whiskey.
I can't think of any foods that I used to have that I miss, but Pedz did remind me when he said drinks that I would like to have some Panda Pops again.
Pandas, I remember them. I never liked them because it was always stuff like, the same kind of flavours as like Lilt, all that kind of tropical stuff. And I was never a fan of that. I was always like, give me a Coke or a lemonade or something. Or then an Iron Brew as I got older. But yeah, I remember that they always did like the panda eating the bamboo in the tins.
Oh, I was thinking for us it was small bottles. So there was like the ones that stick out to me with a cola flavor one, and then I think it was like strawberry jelly and ice cream. It was like
maybe I'm
an unhealthy color of pink, but it tasted.
Do you know what drink
delicious.
I remember from the past? Mr. Blobby's pink lemonade.
What?
Mr. Blobby. Rubber.
We know who he is. Oh god.
Yeah.
No.
There used to be Mr. Blobby's pink lemonade.
Jesus.
Seriously. Back when I was in the infants, I think that was, which would have been
I hated Mr. Blobby.
25 years ago.
Yeah, I hated that character. Absolutely hated him. I never liked him at all. But
did he scare you?
But yeah, no, it didn't scare me.
Some people scared of weird things.
He was a tit. Anyway, moving on.
Wait. I did think of a food, and it's actually quite recent.
Go on, quickly.
The chicken temptation from Subway. It got me through my final year of uni.
Ooh, good show.
But I was so sick of it. At the end of it, I didn't go back for months.
On that note,
cool.
Crispy chicken strippers from KFC.
Yes, also, and those.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Moving on from food, because now I'm hungry. We're going to move on to one last thread, this time from the games thread, and it's one I think that started today, and it's the wimpiest you've ever been in a game. So when has a game, really just made you go nope, and you've turned it off and never played it again?
Never. Seriously, never. No, I'll play a game if it's a bit scary. Then tough. I enjoy it.
Big man Pedz.
No, it's not that. It's just I don't find them scary. I don't know why.
Fair enough.
No.
The most recent one that comes to mind is PT. I didn't even make it down the first corridor.
That game was just like pure brown trousers.
That's terrible, man. That's shocking.
my girlfriend got further through that than I did. But then I'm a shite bag when it comes to these games. So just any scary game ever in general. In fact, I'm going to flip it around for myself and say I was a big brave boy when I played Alien Isolation all the way through. So there we go. Cuttooth, man. What about you? Is there anything?
I'm terrible for scary. I've got quite a few, played quite a few. I've got quite a few, say, in my Steam library. Mm-hmm. I just can't do it. I remember getting the Resident Evil remake on GameCube. Played about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Such a good game.
Alien Isolation. Haven't made it up to the first encounter of the alien. That's pretty bad. And Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which I played a few hours of.
Nope.
I feel ill if I think about playing that game.
It's definitely not my cup of tea. I think when it came to Alien, I think I pushed myself through it. At least initially. Once you've done it for a little bit, you kind of settle into it, and you kind of think it's going to jump out at you, but you know it's okay. Which that sounds so stupid. But I think that's mainly because I love Alien. I love Aliens. That's like one of my favourite franchises, and then so I was going to play it regardless, and I just had to suck it up and play it. But I was Resident Evil Remake. I did exactly the same thing. I bought that game, walked up the street, got to the first zombie, noped, took it out, walked back down and traded it in for Super Monkey Ball. I was like, nope, give me that game instead. It's just no. I've never gotten on with the Resident Evil games. The only ones I've played any kind of amount of was, I think, Revelations. I played a bit of the PC version of that, and that was okay. But by that point, they're not really horror games anymore. Apart from 7, which looks like it's going to be shit your trousers time again.
Yeah, 7 actually looks like a horror game, whereas I've never found Resident Evil a scary kind of game. It's never come across as like something that would scare you.
Yeah, I mean,
which is strange, not now because it's like, it's full of zombies and weird monsters and stuff. But
I think now, for me, it's more the controls and stuff that would put me off going back to it now. It's not, because I have, since gone back and played more of the game, and it's just I can't get past the controls. I hate tank controls. I've never liked them. So yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to be about us. So much for being a shorter show. But we'll kind of. Oh no, I think we have. We'll probably come in around about after I edit this down. Probably around about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 40 minutes. So that's not too bad. So yeah, just thanks for listening, and I just want to obviously thank Cuttooth, Pedz, and Dragon for joining me today. I'm sure we'll see them all back at some point.
Thanks for having us, man.
No, not at all, man. You I know you'll be back. Cuttooth and Dragon won't be back until they finish Super Metroid. So yeah, thanks for joining us, and we will catch you next time. Bye bye. So bye, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.